So I have a crazy topic to discuss. It is Muta. So I had never heard that term. I'm a revert or convert to Islam until a man that I was interested in and was talking to me brought it up. And he's like, hey, have you ever done a Muta or heard of
You getting this?
Oh, what?
You get this already, guys. So she's a new Muslimah. She knows she has to wear her thing around her head. And she's interested in a man. His question is, so do you do muta? Which means I'm going to marry you for the night and you and then divorce you. It's interesting. You have lots of Muslims who say, no, it's only allowed to muta marriage for a little while. And you do have some hadiths on that, but we're going to take a look at that.
I hadn't. So I looked into it, and y'all, it's basically like research. A temporary marriage, which in and of itself is like an oxymoron.
You think?
Guys, did you hear what she just said? That if a marriage is temporary, it's an oxymoron. Marriage is supposed to be for life. AP, is marriage supposed to be for life in Islam? Is that the rule in Islam?
In Islam, nope. There is no such rule.
Not even from Muhammad. Remember, Muhammad, once his wife, Sauda, got old and massively overweight and was unattractive to him, he was about to divorce her just because, like, she's old. And she had to actually renounce her marital rights as far as him visiting her and so on. Say, please don't divorce me because I'll starve. Why? Because Muhammad's wives weren't allowed to marry anyone else after him. So she would have just basically been kicked out and left to fend for herself in her old age. So she came to an agreement. Hey, all of my privileges, just don't divorce me. Make sure I still have a place to live and I'm still fed. That's the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct in Islam, Muhammad is someone who says, hey, we've been married for a while, but you're getting kind of old now. I'm kind of old too, but I've got the power here. So I'm going to get rid of you and trade you in for a younger model. This lady, we're not even talking about muta yet. We're not even talking about going and hiring someone for 3 hours or 3 days or something like that. We're not even talking about that view of marriage. We're not even talking about Surah 65 verse 4, which talks about prepubescent girls. She has it built into her head. Oh, marriage is forever. So what is this stuff about muta? Because everyone knows it's till death do us part.
Marriage is supposed to be forever. Whatever. So the more I looked into it,
the more research I did, I'm sure they'll jump all over for this and try to, no, muta is this great thing that was just allowed for a little while and then not anymore, even though he's literally aware of guys who are still practicing muta because it still happens. We're going to see why. Everything she said already in this short clip, it's, hi, I got into Islam and I have no clue what the view of marriage is. I have no clue about muta. These are all things that I would have heard about very quickly if I had listened to any of the critics of Islam before jumping into this. But I have no clue about anything. And so I'm just going to post my questions on the internet. Hey, what's up with muta?
I just felt very uneasy about it and didn't feel comfortable with that term.
Remember Muhammad Hijab's video where they're talking about secret second wives and how you can lie to your wives about having other wives and keep them all in the dark about each other. And then he kind of went off and started going, this isn't the religion of women's feelings. We're not worshiping women's feelings, right? And she's sitting here, I feel that marriage should be forever. And I feel that this is weird. I feel that something is wrong. What would Muhammad Hijab say to this woman? Narrated Abdullah, we used to participate in the holy battles led by Allah's messenger, and we had nothing, no wives with us. So we said, shall we get ourselves? And what does he say? Does he say, dudes, control yourselves? Just control yourselves. Be men. He forbade us that. He forbade us getting castrated. He forbade us that and then allowed us to marry women with a temporary contract. I'm marrying you for these 3 days or these 3 hours or this day or this 2-day period, something like that, whatever the contract is. And recited to us, O you who believe, make not unlawful the good things which Allah has made lawful for you, but commit no transgression. Guys, this is very important right here. Very important. He just quoted the Quran to say muta is okay. The reason that's important is this is going to become extremely important in whether you think muta is still allowed. This is Muhammad saying you can practice temporary marriage. And he says, O you who believe, make not unlawful the good things which Allah has made lawful for you. So what has Allah made lawful for you? He's made temporary marriage lawful for you. Why is that? Why is this important? This is Muhammad saying that this verse, the Quran, halal certified. It's halal certified. This is Sahih Muslim, section on Muta. Look at the chapter heading. Muta marriage. It was permitted, then abrogated, then permitted, then abrogated, and it will remain forbidden until the day of resurrection. So they give the thinking of the schools of jurisprudence on this issue. It was permitted, then abrogated, then permitted, then abrogated. It will remain forbidden until the day of resurrection. Not so fast, not even according to the sources you've got here. So check this out. This is Sahih Muslim. Ibn Urayj reported, Ati reported that Jibr bin Abdullah came to perform Umrah, and we came to his abode, and the people asked about different things. And then they made a mention of temporary marriage, whereupon he said, so this is after the time of Muhammad, whereupon he said, yes, we had been benefiting ourselves by this temporary marriage during the lifetime of the Prophet and during the time of Abu Bakr and Umar. There are some discrepancies in the Muslim sources. Some of the Muslim sources say that Muhammad allowed Muta for a while, and then he eventually forbade it. And then he said, no more Muta, no more Muta. This is from one of Muhammad's companions. Yes, we had been benefiting ourselves of this temporary marriage during the lifetime of Muhammad and during the time of Abu Bakr and Umar. So during the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar. So long after Muhammad died, they were still practicing Muta. So how is that? If the Muslim community understood that it had been banned, why were they still doing it? Why are they still doing it during the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar? Same chapter of Sahih Muslim, Jabir bin Abdullah reported, we contracted temporary marriage, giving a handful of tails or flour as a dower. Notice, handful of flour. Come marry me for 3 hours. I'm going to give you a handful of flour so you can make yourself some bread. And I'm going to you, but you get to bake yourself a little bread out of it. Islam is great, treats women great. As a dower, during the lifetime of Allah's messenger, notice what he says here, during the lifetime of Allah's messenger and during the time of Abu Bakr, until what? Until Umar forbade it. Until Umar forbade the practice. And so this is what you find in the Muslim sources. Some of the Muslim sources say that Muhammad allowed Muta marriage and that this continued. Muhammad didn't forbid it. This kept going through the reign of Abu Bakr into the reign of Umar, and then Umar is the one who said, nope, no more Muta. Why is this relevant? Well, AP.
Yes, that's me.
If Allah says Muta, temporary marriage, is halal, and a Muslim says, no, Umar forbade it, and therefore it's actually haram. Is there a problem with that in Islam? And you say, I'm going to listen to Umar and not Allah?
Yep. By the Quran's definition, that would mean that they are taking Umar as God besides Allah.
Guys, that's according to the Quran and Muhammad himself. In the passage of the Quran, which talks about Jews and Christians taking their priests and rabbis as lords, the historical background of that, a Christian was there and he says, what are you talking about? They don't worship their priests and rabbis. Muhammad said, when you listen to a man about halal or haram, and it goes against what Allah says is halal or haram, you're worshiping the man. That's how people worship their priests and rabbis, by listening to them when they give an answer that is different from the one Allah gave. So think about this. If this timeline is correct, that Muhammad allowed Muta marriage, and if this continued throughout Muhammad's time, and he even quoted the Quran to say, this is one of the things that Allah allows you in the Quran, then it's halal according to Allah and Muhammad. If the practice was actually outlawed by Umar, and you say, well, Umar says we can't do it, therefore we can't do it, even though Allah and Muhammad say we can, then according to Muhammad himself and Allah, you are now worshiping Umar. On the day of Khaybar, so that's during Muhammad's lifetime, Allah's messenger forbade the mutta, i.e. temporary marriage, and the eating of donkey meat. So Muhammad forbade the practice. And so you can try to reconcile these. That seems to be the intent of the heading in Sahih Muslim, which said it was allowed, then it was forbidden, then it was allowed, then it was forbidden. You can try to kind of harmonize them by saying, okay, so Muhammad allowed it, then at Khaybar, he forbade it, then at some point after that, he allowed it again, then Umar came along and said no more during his caliphate and so on. That doesn't actually help you, because if Muhammad allowed it, then forbade it, then allowed it again, and then Umar overrules him, you still got the same problem. So there doesn't seem to be a good way out of this. But anyway, you have a bunch of these passages saying that Muhammad at some point during his lifetime actually made temporary marriage forbidden, made it haram. But you have these others saying, no, it was allowed throughout the time of Muhammad and throughout the time of Abu Bakr and into the caliphate of Umar, and that Umar is the one who forbade it. So, AP, this is the reason that some Sunnis think it's totally okay to practice muta. It's basically personal preference at this point.